Hey guys, so in this video you and I are going to talk about my first 10,000 hours. So let's get into it. Now, this is a little bit of a specific one. It's not, I'm really only here to share some thoughts about something that I realized just the other day. I was going to the gym, riding on the bus, and it just struck me. You may have heard this before, where there's a saying, or rather there's this idea that in order for you to achieve true mastership of something, you will have to spend 10,000 hours on that thing. So I don't know, it just popped into my head. I pulled out my calculator and I did some very basic math to determine how long I've been programming. And it turns out that very soon I will reach, or depending on how you count, I just counted the amount of time I've been working. So that's almost, if I counted from the time in school and all that stuff, I actually hit my 10,000 hours, but let's just keep it to my 10,000 hours for professional software development. And it kind of sparked this nice idea, because I figured that when I was younger and I thought about these 10,000 hours and I was thinking about, what does it actually mean to achieve true mastership of something? I don't know. I expected there to be this sensation of confidence, to feel like you can do anything, achieve anything, all that good stuff. I suppose I have this from the movies of the world. You see the hero, war veteran or whoever, they're never afraid. Always seems to know what to do. Everything is so simple. And I started thinking about how that relates to what I do these days and how I feel about things today. And I can tell you, maybe this is specific to me, but although I feel very confident in some areas, there are still so many things I don't know. And I'm I try to be as humble as I can in the face of this, because that white screen confidence that you see, that's not how I feel. I suppose the way I can describe it is that I feel secure in the things that I know. I'm always open to the idea that I'm wrong or that somebody else knows better. But the things that I feel that I know, I feel very good about that. I don't feel that, as I said, that overwhelming sense of confidence and that I can do just anything. But I know what I can do, and I know what I'm really bad at. So the sensation that I can describe to you is more in terms of understanding yourself. That's how I feel about it. I don't feel like I can do anything, but I feel like I know myself well enough to know what I can do and what I can't do. And for me, that means that I know what I have to work on. I can take decisions that makes me a more well-rounded person, because that's the way I like to live my life. I am truly inspired by the people who dedicate themselves to one single thing and become true masters of their craft. But that's not really for me. Or rather, it is for me if it happens naturally. I can't force myself to specialize in that manner, but I do have a big, great, massive love for trying things out, things that I enjoy, and dedicating all my time to learning that thing to a point where I feel that, I can actually do this. I'm pretty good at this. And then usually what happens is that I feel like, this is good enough. I think that this is pretty good. The way that I describe it to my friend who was asking me about, because you may not know this, but I've made a few of these turns in my life. And he asked me about it, and I said, the way that I think about it is this. I feel like I'm climbing a mountain. I feel like when I reach high enough on a mountain and I can see the summit, if I can see the difference between where I am and reaching that point and just go, that's pretty okay. I feel pretty good about this. And going further from this point means that I will have to work more, maybe several times harder than I've done so far in order to reach something that isn't, well, it's not that important to me anymore. And what happens is that then I start looking around for a new mountain to climb, because there's something more interesting going on somewhere else. And that's the way that I kind of acquire, so far I've acquired this more diverse mindset and experience. Think of it as more of a jack of all trades type of deal versus being extremely good at one thing. And sometimes that's been very useful to me, and sometimes it's been very, it's not been that useful. It's just one way of doing it. And for the most part, what I'm working on these days is to try and focus less on, because I've been very zealously looking at programming languages, good tools, and focusing a lot on the engineering aspect of software development in my first 10,000 hours, or I think it's 8,000. And it's only recently where I have realized that there's a big, that I've reached that 80%, like I've reached that point, the point of my mountain where I can see that if I go further up now, I'm gonna have to work even harder than I've worked so far. But it's not going to give me as much value. But what is going to give me more value is to take a step back from my editor and not focus so much on the coding that I am doing, but rather how everything fits in to the code that I'm writing. It was one of the biggest mistakes I made at my previous job in Ticketmaster, and it's the same mistake I'm making today at my current job, and I am working fiercely on changing this. And that is that I start working when I think I realize, I understand what I need to do. But I only look at things in isolation. I go into my own little world and I solve the problem. But I don't think about the whole perspective. If you came up to me, back in Ticketmaster days, if you came up to me and asked me about different things about the system, we're talking domain knowledge, we're talking about just how the product itself works. I couldn't answer you to save my life because I spent all my time in the front-end code. That's the only thing I cared about. I didn't care about the rest. And that was really bad. Because it was a too narrow mindset. What I should have been doing is that I should have focused more on the whole, how everything fits together. How does the thing that I'm writing right now fit into the business value of my company or the product that I'm working on? That's where I'm going to spend my next 2,000 hours. And hopefully, by the time I reach 10,000, I will have become a better programmer than I could have possibly become by just going up the same mountain. We'll see how it turns out. Have a great day.